Get ready, Chiefs Kingdom, to unleash your passion and excitement for all Chiefs content. With the up-and-coming sports media company giving you all of the Chiefs coverage. We are raising the decibels and embracing the community of Chiefs Kingdom. Elevate your fandom and join our team who loves your team. Red Kingdom Media. Welcome to this week 2 edition of the Red Kingdom Media Live post-game show. I am your host, Clinton Petrie, here with my fellow lads, Daily Dale and Lonnie Boy over there. What's up, guys? How was the game for you?
It was decent. It was decent. We seen some bad stuff, but we had some good stuff too in there.
I was well, offensively, I'm not satisfied, but for the defense, I was just happy. Like, this is a defense last year that a lot of people always question. It seemed like they always let us down in moments, and just to see them come out there and just be solid throughout the whole game and only giving up one touchdown. One touchdown, I believe.
Nope.
Right?
Well,
No
touchdown. Three field goals. Yeah, no touchdowns. Like,
yep. So
that's
you're jumping
solid.
the gun here. So
Yeah,
I have it. The defense demolishes the Jags 17-9, holding the Jags to 3 field goals, not letting them too far into the end zone, and stopping about 5 different catches along the boundary, all of them not being completed 2 feet in bounds. So every time I said, oh, man, it looks like the defense is finally going to break, they stepped up big, dude. So,
they were phenomenal. Like, just to see the whole defensive line swarm him on that one sack. Literally everybody was in on it. Dickerson, Jones, Karlaftis, Felix, everybody. It was just like, okay, I see where we're going with this. And when they got into the red zone as well, too, we capitalized. Trevor Lawrence tried to get us on that little read option run. Bolton was able to follow that, and then Snead was able to come behind and really stop him as well, too. But just to see them hold up in moments like that, that's what I wanted to see from the Chiefs defense. I know last year the offense was always coming out there putting up 30-plus points then and there, but at the same time, to see that they was able to handle it when the Chiefs did turn over the ball, they capitalized. So that was a plus, and that's really going to be good when we get up into January and February, where we're trying to make those stops in key moments.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah, I think for sure. Yeah, they definitely did. The defense definitely showed up. Like we said, we're scared to see Mahomes with a top 10 defense. We're yet to see him with the top 10 defense. That was a glimpse of what one can be. We still need to clean some things up on the offensive side, but we know we can bring that side of the ball around faster than we could the defensive side. So to see that we have that promise and that potential on that defensive side is definitely promising moving forward. Just knowing that we can win games like that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So let's start on the defensive side of the ball, since that was the side of the ball to really showcase and give their flowers to for this game. Getting 4 sacks total, lots of half sacks, and Chris Jones, without having any preparation whatsoever, goes out there and gets 1.5 sacks and has another sack he should have got right before a play. He did get a sack, and if he was well conditioned, he might have been out there for twice as many snaps as he was. I'll give you guys the nerdy details later when I can find them. But Lonnie, what did you think of Chris Jones and the defensive line's performance today?
Yeah, so I think he stepped up and did exactly what we said he needed to do, right? This is the performance that we said Chris Jones needs to have, and this is what he needs to do moving forward. This is one of many weeks that he will have to perform at this level in order to reach those incentives and in that contract and make that holdout worth it. So he did his job. He did exactly what he needed to do. Nothing more, nothing less. He's going to have to probably play more snaps because he's going to have to get more sacks. He's 4 sacks down, so he has some more to go, at least 11 more to go. So
he had a 1.5. He had
1.5.
4 total sacks on the whole defense.
Okay, so if he had 1.5, he still got a long way to go. Like I said, still got a long way to go. We got a lot of work to do.
8.5.
Yeah, so
he got 8.5.
He got some work to do. I thought it was 15.5 in that contract, right?
Well, not 10. He just got to get 10 sacks this season.
Right. Yeah, there wasn't that next up. It was all about defensive player of the year, and he's not getting that unless he gets well over double digits, close to 20 with the way Michael Parsons was playing.
Yeah, he gotta get close to 20, and I think he gotta have a lot of he has to have a number of total tackles as well too, and also probably a couple tackles for a loss along with that. So he's gonna have to like really put up some good numbers. But what we seen on the edge from him today, I really enjoyed it a lot. This is what we wanted when he first went out there, and when we was like, okay, we'll go with Chris Jones at edge rush edge rusher. Then when we eventually had to move him inside, it was like, okay, we thought this would work out, but we were situational with it. But it seems like a lot today. He had a good amount of snaps on the outside, and I very much enjoyed it. He was definitely beating up that right tackle the whole game. And me and Ronnie was talking about this earlier. We've been talking about this the whole time. It's something with him at defensive end that it attracts me a lot because we're used to seeing those taller tackles per se, and they're normally towering over those edge rushers just because they're a little bit more athletic. Yeah, they're very strong, but they're not as tall as that left tackle. But he meets the requirements of where it's like, okay, he's like neck and neck with them. So it's going to be more of like, you got to bully me because I'm going to bully you. And right when he gets past him, it's nowhere to go for that quarterback. He either has to move up in the pocket, and then he's going to swallow you right there. And then if you try to escape from the outside, he got those long arms, and he's just going to grab onto you. So he had an advantage, and I like that, and I want to see that more often. I still want to see him in the inside, of course, where we got that exterior pressure. But once the mini who come back, I think we're going to have a strong front four in those situational downs where we're going after the pass.
I think when we play teams that are really run heavy, because we saw the sacks really pile up during the tight formations the Jags were running out of, and then the play action passes that was getting Trevor killed in the pocket. I think when we play some run heavy teams and they have to start relying on the pass to beat the Chiefs, it's going to be a line them up to knock them down situation. It's not going to look fun for opposing offenses.
No, but the run defense haven't been as bad as well. They really kept Travis Etienne at bay. And I enjoyed it. And Matt Dickerson, who we see getting called up a lot from the practice squad, he been getting a good amount of reps as well too. And he's been doing his job on the inside. I seen him back there a couple times where he forced a running back to try to force to the outside, and he wasn't able to get it just because of the containment from either Drew Tranquil or Leo Chenal. But honestly, we have a lot of great depth on that defensive line. This was a group that we were questioning, like, what will we do without Chris Jones?
Yeah, and I think
it was a different type of game.
Yeah, and I think
it was a different type of game when Derek Nottie just showed up and started balling at the beginning. And Derek Nottie is not the type to beat the play or the passes. So we knew something was up. Spags was on one today for sure.
Yeah, and I was telling Dale that Derek Nottie, I think, has earned his money past just 1 year deals so far. I think he's kind of, they've worn that out, just giving my man 1 year deals. I think he's earned that money. He's always finding himself coming up in critical passing situations, passing downs. He's usually coming up with a sack, something of that nature to make a play for the team. But I do like Chris Jones at defensive end. I think it's different. That's the only reason that we kind of like it was an experiment. It's kind of different, and it still looks different because, like I told Dale, he's the same size as your typical offensive tackle. Tackles are usually tall, like Chris Jones, 6'9". You got 300. Usually got big offensive tackles. So it looks a little different, him coming off the line. It's not cute. It's not sexy. Like I told him, it's more like the powerful Khalil Mack, but it's just not as agile as Khalil Mack was. But it's just as violent as far as hand fighting, beating the offensive tackle, stepping around people just because he's so big. He doesn't really need a lot to get past the offensive tackle or get in the backfield. He's usually 2 steps and he's where he needs to be. That's why the sacks just kind of look so awkward, and he's usually just like swallowing somebody whole. This is because he's usually just stepping through. It's not a lot of work he has to do to get through because he's so big and such a mammoth of a man. He's usually probably putting his arms on the back of your tackle or your guard and like springboarding himself through the defensive line, which you don't see a lot. This man is an anomaly. So like it's different. I think we just don't see it a lot. It's weird. And especially coming at that edge position, seeing it from the camera angles that CBS has it at, you can kind of really see like his get off is good, and then he's hand fight. It's all hand fight. When you can't touch him, he's gone. Like after he beats you, once your hand is off of him, you don't get your hands on him, he's beat. And half the time people can't get his hands on him, and then if you do get your hands on him, he's just running tackles back into the quarterback and then just grabbing your quarterback because he's just humongous. Like
And it's
Mhm.
positioning. His positioning be weird as well too, because with him being so tall as well, and when he's beating you, when you're seeing and you're trying to grab onto him as he's going past you, it's making it more of a offensive holding at that point as well too, where he has that advantage, and it's obvious for that back official to see like, okay, he's getting held, and you see as he's attacking the quarterback, and then they're moving up in the pocket, and as they're going down, you see that offensive tackle is holding on to him, which is an advantage for him as well. So he got you in multiple. He putting you in position to where it's not a winnable situation for you. He's either going to beat you, he's either going to force you to cause a holding, or right there, your quarterback is just going to be swallowed up and eaten alive. And then next thing you know, guess what? He's adding to that sack total, and hopefully he can meet that
Yeah.
threshold of 20 plus sacks.
What I saw, he was way better when he got to fully be inside one-on-one or even beating the double team. I think on the edge against the tackle, I think that'll really work in the run situations because
Yeah.
I didn't really see that working out in their favor. It worked out for the other guys when we did see him on the outside. We saw the collapse of the pocket in like the George and Dana combined sack. So it's
Yep.
good for the whole team if he's on the edge because he allows the other guys to get like advantageous matchups. But for his, I need to get a bunch of sacks to make up this money situation. He's probably going to want to ask to be inside a lot more often so he can get that quicker access to the quarterback from the inside.
Yeah, I think I see him getting pressure either way. Personally,
Yeah.
I like him. I just see him just as far as the presence, him either way, lining up outside, inside. I see him getting the pressure either way because he gets pressure from that opposite side too. On any offensive tackle, I've seen him lining up over that rookie a lot. That rookie offensive tackle that the Jaguars have. I like those type of matchups for Chris in any game, any situation, just because give me my vet defensive nose tackle that's trying to get his $38 million a year, and he's hungry right now. So I just want to see that on any. I take that on any mismatch, and however you can do it inside, outside, because I feel like that's what Spags is doing here, right? He's playing a matchup game on that defensive line. He's trying to find the best matchup for whatever pass rusher he has at that position at the time. So I feel like it's really more of a matchup thing, and Chris is gonna, like I said, take advantage of his matchup as well. I seen, like I said, lining up on that offensive tackle, that rookie offensive tackle. So I would just look for things like that. I feel like he's gonna play it outside. He's gonna be out there. We've seen him do ridiculous stuff from out there. The sack on Derek Carr is just one of the things, to name a few, that we've seen him do from outside. He's ridiculous. So like, I feel like we need to see more of it, whether it be inside or outside.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Who else on defense stood out to you guys?
Snead had a slow start, but he was able to get it together. He definitely came up clutch in the last parts of the game. Calvarelli was getting him at first, had him on a couple penalties as well too. Caught him with 2 of them, but he was able to recover from it. Wasn't able to really have as many big plays as that he did last week against the Colts. But at times, I understand that we like a lot of turnovers and we want him to pick the ball, but he was playing him very well on that outside. He knew where the wide receiver was going, and he positioned the body to where he made him play against the back of the end zone or play more to the sideline as well too, to where he didn't have advantage of having 2 feet in. So he got adjusted. I think this was a good startup game for him as well too, with Calvin Ridley being a beast for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, and my pick is going to be Leo Chanel, right? Because Leo Chanel is, I feel like, a guy that we don't talk about a lot, a guy that we thought probably would come in and probably not just get overlooked due to Drew Tranquil, but I feel like he's a guy that reared his head and showed his face. Just really reading a lot of plays out, especially in the run game. Run fit and just a lot of stuff. Blitzing, you see him getting there on blitzes. This man is just all around good linebacker, I think, in general. And I feel like he's one that's going to get a lot more playtime just due to this game and seeing what he could do. Leo Chanel is definitely the guy I feel like they rear his head.
And he had 2 scares from Nick Bolton and Willie Gay.
The other 2, yeah. How did I know that I should have blurted because Lonnie was going to take my pick? Yeah, I was watching that whole game saying, man, why is the best linebacker on the field for the Chiefs Leo Chanel? This is kind of insane. But since you took him, I'm going to take the combination of Brian Cook and Jalen Watson. 2 guys who were sort of last year guys who maybe weren't in the position the whole season or throughout, but they seemed pretty seamless in their roles, and Jalen especially had that big hit before, something else ruined it, but his big tackle in space showed us that like he's a dude for sure.
For
For
sure.
sure. And
Snipe
Brian
it
scared.
off the edge.
Yeah, and Brian Cook scared us for a moment as well too. I thought it was going to be a Juan Thornhill type of situation with the neck injury or
Right.
concussion or anything like that. But it
One
was
play
good to
later.
see. Yep, one play later he was back out there, and he's been honestly solid. I think he got beat on one pass, but other than that, like he's been playing his part. I'm just
Mhm.
ready for him and Justin Reed to be able to play the ball a lot better in moments where we see him just lobbing it up in the air. Can you be able to get over to that side of the field, be the one who get up in the air, get a pick, and then turn it around for us as well too. I'm with you on that, Lonnie. Like I'm okay with multiple DBUs and also getting the sacks and getting some tackles for loss as well. But at the same time, I'm ready for us to get a pick that changes the momentum of the game. Get that quarterback where he's uncomfortable. Now he's riled up. He's been getting hit all game. Now he's turning over the ball as well too. So I'm just waiting for them to make that jump. Because one thing we did have when Honey Badger was here, with Tyron Matthew was here, he was a ball hawk. He was attached to the ball. He seems like he was always around the ball every play. I need that from them. Now I know it's the same if you don't hear their name too many times, then they must be doing their job. But at the same time, too, in those moments where we letting those underneath routes or those catches down the field to where they're standing and having a 30-yard, 40-yard plus play, we need to come together and get that stop. But other than that, secondary looking solid.
Yeah, part of me's been wondering, like, with Justin Reed's position, is the strong safety in Spags' system just always prone to being kind of exposed throughout in the like middle of the field passing game for the third and long situations that always seem to get converted? Or is Justin Reed still having trouble either in the system or athletically keeping up? I'm not sure. But he said last year it took him way late into the season to have stuff figured out. And, for a bit, it seemed like he was always kind of a step behind where he needed to be.
And I was going to say that.
Yeah.
And I was going to say that too. I was going to say I'm ready for Justin Reed to get the Jawan Taylor treatment almost, because it's like you said. I feel like I would say that would be true if it was the strong safety spot was the weakest spot on the field. But you had guys like Tyron that came in here and made that spot a weapon. Guys that like really turned that rover spot into a super duper chess piece for Spags. And I feel like Justin Reed was supposed to be that, and he has not been that. I don't think Justin Reed is going to be that. Something I feel like happened between here and the Texans that we don't know about, that he's just not that same guy. He was a guy that was like an athletic freak kind of playing for the Texans, a guy that lit Tyreek Hill up. He was playing a step faster when he played for the Texans. He just has not played at that level for the Kansas City Chiefs at all. Like he's really just, I feel like he's just really played a step behind. He is the weakest link on the defense when it comes to as far as passing, as far as any tight ends, like that is where they're going. He has became the Daniel Sorensen.
And then my hot take is arguably the second most like vulnerable piece on the defense is Nick Bolton in pass coverage.
Mm-hmm.
He's always a step behind too. So you got these guys who are smart and they're thumpers and can make tackles supposedly when they need to, but maybe a step behind in the passing game, and that's what happens when certain defensive plays are called, when they're in certain formations in the scheme running against the offense, and they just are put in vulnerable situations. I remember at least one play that had George Karlaftis running after a wide receiver, or Evan Ingram actually. I don't think you want George Karlaftis in pass coverage, a la Justin Houston. But in the defense, there's events like that can occur just because of alignment and what the defense is running versus what the offense audibles to. So,
but I want to go back to what you said, Clinton, about the safeties. Honestly, I'm thinking about Spag's old defenses, and I haven't seen him really have great safeties at all. They more was doing the same thing, the same role what we seen our safeties doing now. I mean, they're not really giving up as much, but we're definitely depending on that front seven and that front four to really get pressure and really bring it home for us to put us in position to make those plays. Because I would have to go back to the 2011 defense for the Giants. He only
So
had Antrell Rowe
so
I
that
think
makes
I think he had Brian Dawkins, if I'm not mistaken, in Philly.
throughout,
in Philly.
yeah, in Philly
In
before
Philly.
Okay,
that. But
okay,
then since Spags has been in Kansas City, what have the Chiefs done? They got Tyrann Mathieu, and then literally when they got rid of him, they got in Justin Reed. So
Reed.
if they were going to bring in a safety, if Spagnuolo didn't give his approval for it, so
I mean, you
maybe
got to feel
that's
in the
one of the
position,
things
though.
he shifted on in his career. I mean, he seems like a very open guy and like just likes talking defense in general and like trying out different things and just kind of cooking with whoever he's got, just figuring out how to put all these pieces together, not necessarily focused on one specific scheme versus putting a scheme together that best suits your players and your game plan for the opposing team.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yep.
he has went to a more multiple defense, and I don't know if that's just a lot for Justin, but I just know he has not. He is become the weakest link, and it was just coming clear and obvious because I feel like anytime they're throwing Melvin, I mean, is that Melvin Ingram had a day today, right? Is that the tight end for the Jaguars name?
Evan Ingram.
Evan Ingram had a day today in fantasy. If you got Evan Ingram in fantasy, oh my God, he had a day for you today. And that is the position that we brung Justin Reed in the guard. That is what he was brung here for. It's
The
to
Travis
guard the
Kelsey
tight end.
cover.
So like and when you see guys like that's signs of Daniel Swanson. Now it's not giving up the big play, no, but it's death by a million cuts. It's death by a thousand cuts. Just dink and dunk here and there. So like he's got to get better. He cannot be the weakest link in coverage, and you were the free agency pickup that was supposed to come solidify the secondary.
I'm fine with that. I had Evan Ingram in fantasy, so I needed those points. Obviously, they didn't get enough points to win the game, so I'm okay with it. Y'all know my motive. Like, hey, if I got these guys with fantasy football being on right now, like, y'all can make as many plays as you want, make as many yards as you want. As long as you ain't scoring touchdowns, but you making my fantasy look good, it's a win all day. But I actually got to check because I do got him one of my fantasy, so yeah, he did have a decent outing against us. Well, against Justin Reed.
Yeah,
All
I feel like we definitely just got to match up better there, like just inside. And I just feel like B Cooks, it's coming. B Cook is a pro, okay. And I'm gonna just put this out there. If you see how he covers those deep routes, and how he
Bearcat
helps
Nation.
in coverage, and how he just like how he got back inside on Zay Jones. That was a pick if Jay Jones doesn't hop on his back. Like he literally read it. Like when you just talk about doing the opposite of what Juan Thornhill used to do as far as not getting us burnt, I feel like Six
Yeah.
is doing that. Like he's figured that out on those deep passes, and he's covering that. He's reading it. He's reading it out, and he's covering it. And like I said today, Zay Jones, if Zay Jones doesn't jump on his back and collapse his lung, but he probably has an interception. So like
Because he read it well.
he read it very, very well. So I just feel like Six is balling out. We got to get that older guy to step up, though, for real.
Yeah. All right. I think we're going to pivot here to the offense. But first, I just want to mention, hey, thank you all for whoever's joining us and listening afterwards. Make sure to follow and subscribe to us on wherever you like to listen to your nerdy Chiefs news. We got you covered. And make sure to leave a like, comment, and share on it so we know that you're watching and loving it just as much as we are. So I think it's about time we pivot to some not so fun information first, so that way we can geek out about the stuff we did enjoy, besides harping on the defense, that good and bad that they did. So 3 turnovers for the day. One of them came hitting Richie James right in the face on a punt return, a la Sky Moore of last year. Any thoughts about that?
I'm ready to take him off.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Simple as that. I'm just ready to take them off. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
not trying to give up on them like that, but I think this is the same situation he dealt with the Giants last year, with the punt returns, just having those mental mistakes. However, I mean, when he's involved in the offense and you get him going, he can get going. But I'm comfortable with putting KT back. Back there, it looks like he's having limited reps on
Mhm.
offense as of now, even though he had somewhat of a decent outing to begin. But at the same time, I think we just need that spark. And when we need it, I think he's someone you can be out there. Now, he can stay on kick return where it's a little bit more feasible. The guys are still running downfield. It's not that pressure of once you get it in open field, somebody smacking onto you. Depending on where you're returning it from, you have that advantage to where you can see everything in front of you, kind of get everything together, see how it's going to play out, and find your lanes. And he might have that advantage in that point of it. But KT, someone who's being unconventional in what he does, I think he's better off fitting in that punt return role and just being comfortable. But we know the Kansas City Chiefs, they don't like letting players get down. They're probably going to have him out there next game again to just regain his confidence and hopefully get a spark. But that first one, yeah, it was frustrating. I thought it was
Mhm.
a close game from last year again. I was kind of getting scared. So
Yeah. At that moment, I was like, oh. My opinion is what you just said. Like the fans' perspective says to get him out, he can't do it. But I'm sure Andy Reid and Dave Tope are going to heavily feature him next week, especially against the Chicago Bears team that looks like we could put out near our backups and be able to win that game pretty sure-handedly. So then Justin Watson had his catch, but then fumble. Dale, you and I said he was pretty reliable last game, so of course we should have known something was up and had to jinx his.
That's what you think about that, Lonnie? Because I know I said that earlier.
yeah. I don't. It was fluky to me. We get that a lot.
Weird.
Especially with the Chiefs. That's just really cuts down the point differential for the other team getting turnovers. So they're always trying to create a turnover. They're always looking for a turnover. You got to secure the ball. Like I said, we might be missing a little bit of Eric Bieniemy, the high and tight. You just hold it high and tight, keep it close, no fumbles. But it's just a part. It's kind of the thing that ebbed the Chiefs last year, just kind of like hampered them. So we got something that we got to get fixed. All turnovers in general, turnovers and penalties. You just don't want. You don't win a game like that. That's the best way to lose a game is to have all of those turnovers and penalties.
Yep.
The only person that usually wins those games and is known to win those games is Mr. Mahomes, who is just like an anomaly when it comes to the turnover differential and penalty differential. He just kind of wipes those things away. So you get lucky when you have a quarterback like that, but you just don't want those things. That's not good, and that's just like it hampers the team. It makes you look super duper bad. The Chiefs, this score is 17-9, and it should not. This should not be a 17-9 game. We're talking about a defensive game with an offense that won the Super Bowl last year. Like, what are we talking about?
Correct. Go
And
ahead.
Pat just said something too. He just said the defense won that game.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the acknowledgement, understanding like, hey, we didn't play our best ball today, and they came out and showed out. So yeah, I just
Okay,
wanted to
so
put that out there.
let me run down the rest of these turnovers. So note, Creed Humphrey had a lot of low snaps this game. So some of them not too dangerous, but it definitely afflicted the play a little bit. So something to watch there. And then Patrick Mahomes just frustration throw to the other side of the field when he wasn't able to get anything going with his receivers. I don't think we're going to be able to afford plays like that in a few months. So hopefully they get these miscommunications squared away so we don't have some hero ball happening with Mahomes again. Anybody want to speak on that?
What you said, just the turnovers and penalties.
And then to cap that, we saw specifically Jawan Taylor by himself pick up 5 offensive penalties and getting benched in one of the end possessions on two downs. So
yeah, and some of that I feel like is just being spotlighted. You got to know when you got the spotlight on you. Juwan. So that's just him as a player. You got to know when the world is watching you. You are no longer on the Jaguars. You are on the biggest team in the world, the best team in the world, the reigning Super Bowl champion. So the world is watching. The refs are watching. And whatever you're doing, if you're doing it and you continue to do it, it will get called and they're going to flag it. So I just feel like it's picking on them, but at the same time, the player has to have situational awareness and understand that I put this out on film. So there is a possibility that I am going to get picked on. With that being said, I have to make an adjustment. I have to adjust and fix my game accordingly to where we don't have those problems anymore, because it's not a thing to where it's like, okay, I'm gonna keep doing it and I'm gonna just do it. No, it's okay. You gonna keep doing it and you're gonna keep being inefficient. You're gonna learn that you continue to do this. You're gonna put your team behind the sticks and you're gonna have a day like you had today. So don't continue to do it.
Yo, you trying to talk about me because you know what I'm about to come with. So you're gonna adjust based off of what you've been doing for 4 straight years? No, I'm not. Y'all just said something now. Y'all should have called it before. I don't care. I don't care, bro. No, the media put it out there. Y'all just don't know ball. I've been doing this the whole time. I know people. If you don't do it to me, do it to Lane Johnson every game. I don't care. You're not gonna do that, bro. No, I'm not going
we
for
saw
it.
the messages about the crackdown and it was looked at funny, but we saw it on Thursday. Lane Johnson lined up closer. He wasn't jumping off as fast the whole time.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. We made an alignment adjustment mid-game. The commentators pointed it out. Look, they're closer to the center's butt. How they're supposed to be.
Yeah. And they're going to have that conversation now, but he's going to stay on it because it's like, bro, I've been doing this for 4 straight years.
Well, he's going to try it.
It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard for him to break the habit.
He's not going to do it immediately, y'all. He's not going to do it immediately. Like, I'm sorry.
But he's going to have to. And that's why I said he's going to have to.
Now.
And we're going to struggle because when you get behind the sticks and you going second and 20 on a play that you probably just got a plus in the plus territory on. You're losing, and that's why he got benched today. So you have to make an adjustment. He has to make an adjustment.
Hey, Dale, we'll figure it out next week. We're playing the Bears. Let's calm down. Plenty of time to figure it out.
No, I think Dale's playing devil advocate, and it's true.
Yeah,
he did do this. He did this for 4 years with the Jaguars, and this is crazy. This is a man that that had Joey Bosa slamming his helmet. For the Jaguars because they said he was jumping off sides when they won that playoff game in Jacksonville. So when they did that miraculous comeback against the Chargers. So Dale has a very valid point. This is a man that has been doing this and has made a killing and really probably got his contract from the Chiefs from playing this way. But it's become a thing to where now he's getting spotlighted on the Chiefs, which is not surprising to me for being a little early. It's 2 teams in 2 totally different situations. It's something that shouldn't happen, but we know this happens in the league all the time. So like they're gonna spotlight it, and it's gonna be the Chiefs are gonna be made the example out of. He probably wasn't made an example out of when he was in Jacksonville. It was okay to do it. And then the Chargers probably also flagged it in that playoff game. They wanted to take a deeper look into it because it had Joey Bosa going crazy. So I just wouldn't be surprised if the league is just looking into it in general, just because Jawan Taylor has made a killing doing this. So he's gonna have to figure out some other ways to get off that snap faster.
And the thing is, man, like when I'm coming after the defense for him, people got to understand I was an offensive lineman. And I'm going to be honest, we're going to use everything to our advantage to take advantage of those great edge rushers. Okay, you said I can come back this far and you haven't been calling it the whole time. Yes, it's going to piss him off. You got to come through me. This is what they run me to Kansas City for. You got to come through me to get to Patrick Mahomes. His problem the whole time. They going around him the whole time, force him inside the pocket. Then they collapse and coming inside as well too. They're stopping that now. Now we had some plays to where their defensive line still did good. Josh Allen still made a lot of plays as well too, and he had somewhat of a good game. But at the same time, it's unfair just because they're taking advantage of it. And it's all right. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Of course, he's gonna have to make the adjustment now. That's pretty obvious. It's gonna have to happen. But for him to come out of the game, I feel like they felt like it was a lot of tension on him at that moment. Hey, we need to reset it. We need to get somebody out there for a while. You kind of getting bobbled up with all this stuff that's going on. Let's calm down. Let's get it together. You're going to go back out there in the game. And then he still had I think he had one more penalty when he got back out there. But at the same time, it was pretty clean going forward. And then it was a time where the whole offensive line was getting penalties. So to be honest, I think the offensive line just got to come back together. when they get back to practice, they're gonna have to hit each other in the head, get back into it, and then hopefully the Bears, that's where they can jumpstart that offense, and that offensive line can be fine going forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was thinking something was up when Robot Joe Tooney gets a penalty.
Yeah.
Something don't seem right because this is Mr. Mitchell Schwartz consistent. I doubt he actually got a penalty. So the refs out in Jacksonville were feeling some type of way about how the Chiefs were playing. So we'll see if the referees in Kansas City next Sunday afternoon feel the same way as they were in Duval in the 100-degree heat. Maybe they were just trying to get out of there as fast as possible.
Yeah, I didn't want, and we spend money on them too. I'm just like, hey, I don't want to waste the money. That's 4-year, 80 mil. Don't give them on them that fast. We ain't gonna be wasting on money like that. Now I understand y'all said it's voidable years, so I understand that can happen. But I think we put so much into him. We expect him to have a solid 4 years with us throughout that time. So hopefully he can get it together. Basically.
Yep,
Hopefully
he'll have this week to work out those kinks and then show back up next week and finish. And we'll watch how much of his game actually changed versus how much of it gets called based on the matchup.
And absolutely, but I feel like the test really won't be against the Bears. It'll probably be that following Sunday night against the Jets. When you really playing some good, getting some real heat, get some real pass rushers there. But I feel like we see any Andy Reid led team when it comes to penalties and turnovers. Andy Reid knows how to fix those things. It's the little things, right? It's the discipline, staying disciplined. I'm working the fundamentals. We'll see. Andy Reid will fix these problems, and I feel like he's going to get them playing at a high level moving forward. These are just teaching tools for him.
I'm just saying this Bears game is the perfect one to get those penalties if you're going to rack them up, because you're like, here, what about here? Here? Okay, and now? What about now? Okay, now. And then once he's got that, he seems like a smart guy, considering he said it's all about him timing the snap. So you have to be, mentally acute to have that reaction time that he's had. And, he was getting away with it, even though we all would say the rules are how they are. So I'm not going there. I don't want to put Dale on a soapbox again. Let him start ranting and raving. So let's let's pivot to the offense. Normally would be the stars of the show, but this game started off slow as anyway. And now I can finally bring in some of these comments that we're referring to that. So Kenneth here says Matt Nagy has to go. And he also says 2 weeks gone, but only one target to Justin Ross, wasted talent in time. So Matt Nagy, we saw, his play calling. The one thing that stood out to me, and thankfully they were able to fix it in the second half, was you had Isaiah Pacheco running 5 yards a carry. And you're like, nope, we're good. Nope. He had a one rush for 10 yards at the very beginning of the game, and then you guys decided, we're done running the ball. We need to throw against this team. Excuse me? I'm sorry. Andy Reid, you love your passing, and I totally and fully respect that. But in a close game, you do what it takes to win, not what you want to do, guys. Isaiah Pacheco clearly is your guy, and you relied on him late in the fourth quarter. You need to try to rely on him in the first and second quarter so you can ice the game away like you want to.
Yeah, I just think we need to stop with all the design runs of all this misdirection going over there to come back to the run. Like, let's just let our big front five, Donovan Smith, Joe Tooney, Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, Jawan Taylor, let them go to work. Let them get them beyond the line of scrimmage. Let's push them back 5 yards. Let's keep on trying to average 3 to 4 yards a carry. Let's stop doing all that fancy stuff. Let's just get straight to it, because in those moments when you're doing that, it's going to open up your offense. Now, I understand you want some of those design plays to be able to open up your pass game later on to where you can feed off of it and do something with it. But at the same time, when you got a defense, a lot of people are they're starting to hone in on what the Chiefs like to do. They're starting to hone in on all those flashy plays that they like to put together. They're not going for that anymore. They're just going to play their role. They're going to stay in their spot, and they're going to wait for you to develop it after that and see where you're going with it. They're not going to overreact at an instance anymore. So it's time for us to, get down and dirty. When it's time to run the ball. On 2nd and 1, 3rd and 1, just go ahead, go up the gut. I'd rather us continue the possession with something ugly opposed to try to do something fancy and we get stopped and lose a couple yards and then we have to give the ball, either punt the ball or give it back to the opposing offense. Let's get to it. Mahomes as well too. At times for a quarterback sneak, go ahead and do a quarterback sneak. What happened in Denver a couple years ago was a freak accident.
Never.
And we're going. Hey.
It has to literally be like Super Bowl on the line, final play for that to even remotely cross Andy Reid's mind anymore. It's a play that doesn't work. And so he's ripped it out of the playbook. It is not a relevant play.
And he got a first down when he got hurt with.
Yeah, and I feel like it's just like you put your Super Bowl quarterback at risk. And the last thing you want to hear is he got hurt running this last time and you ran it again. Because we're going to be sitting here looking just like we just were.
After you
he got it. The last thing he wants to hear is he got hurt running this the first time and you just ran it again, Andy. You haven't ran it in 2 years, and you decided to run Patrick Mahomes on a quarterback sneak, and he's hurt again. So it's just like it's certain stuff. He's just like, all right, I'm just gonna do away with that, and we'll have Noah Gray or we'll have somebody else. Because I'd rather you tell me, okay, Noah didn't get it, than you be like, oh, damn, you got Mahomes hurt running the quarterback sneak.
Don't let them do it no more either, because they're gonna key in on that as well too.
They're definitely keying. They're definitely keying.
What I'm fine with you doing is going to that T when you said that you did earlier in the game where Pacheco was able to get that first down. I'm fine with that. Where it's just going straight forward. See, that's simple, going straight forward. That's cool. You bring him up a little bit to where he's not coming, 3 to 4 yards deeper. He's a little bit up closer. So right when he hand off the ball, Mahomes hand off the ball, he can get straight to it. I'm fine with that. But just don't go. If you're not going to do the quarterback sneak, rip it out for everybody. Rip it out for everybody. Let it go. Because then once they see that tight end come in, they're gonna squish in. I mean, the percentage of it, we still might get it, but at times where you have an aggressive defense, ones who is really phenomenal and really can they eye in on that. It's not gonna be a plus for us. But what about we just do the Eagles quarterback sneak? Works every time. Let's get it pushed.
I just want everybody. I want y'all to watch. I feel like we wish we could pull it up. Just pull up that injury of Mahomes on that quarterback sneak. It was a scrum. It literally was. And Wolf got him on his leg in the wrong spot and got it out of there. So we're only a couple more quarterbacks away from that happening. And like I said, this is a dangerous play. It's been successful, but we're one hit helmet to the knee from Jalen Hurts. That's not being ran anymore.
Would y'all do?
It's cool now. Well, no, I wouldn't take it away. I wouldn't take it away. It's working. It's working now, right? But no one has had that same situation happen yet. I feel like it's definitely a different play. It's definitely dangerous. I just seen the Jets actually run it against the Cowboys, and it didn't work. But when you have violent defensive linemen and you submarining, and I just feel like that is a brewing. You're kind of asking for something to happen to my lower extremity, especially when you're some reason putting helmets down by ankles and all of that type of stuff. We're a couple, like I said, we're 2 quarterback major injuries away from the quarterback sneak just not being. We're done with it. It'll be extinct in everybody's playbook.
But would y'all stop doing it?
Takes a helmet to the knee.
But would y'all stop doing, like, if y'all was Andy Reid and that happened to Patrick Mahomes 2 years ago? I respect.
I'm going away from it.
Opinion.
I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna go away from it. I'm gonna ask the quarterback. I ask him how he feels. He said he wants to run it. If he wants to run it, then I'm gonna give it to him. You put it's your career. So
what you feel, Clayton?
Dale, Lonnie said it perfectly. It's all quarterback instinct. It's within the play. Of course, you practice a sneak because you practice any play in your playbook. You practice victory formation, for crying out loud. So whether or not it gets called often, I think it's just a coach trusting his quarterback saying, "Hey, bud, what do you think is going to work in this situation?"
So you're saying if Mahomes was like flat out, all right,
let me run it. Yes, Andy, I can sneak it. I know I'm going to score. I'm going to score. I know we're going to win the Super Bowl if I do.
So you wouldn't call it to put that pressure on you. It would be like this was a Mahomes type of decision. He knew he can get it. Y'all not going to put it on me.
See, but
It's
this
in the
is the
moment.
thing, and this is what I think messes it up for Andy, especially in those situations. Andy's not that type of guy. Even if he does give Mahomes the green light to call it, he's gonna take the blame for it if anything happens, just because he's a player's coach. That's who he is. He's not a guy that's gonna come out and say Mahomes wanted that. He wanted it, so that's
He
why
took
we
the
gave
blame
him.
like, I
for
should have told him
Tony
not to do
last
it.
week, even
Exactly.
though Tony was open and should have caught all those. Yeah, I blame myself for putting Tony in great situations to make plays.
He's a player's coach. He's a player's coach. He's who you want to work for, in general. But what was the question again? What were we speaking on? We're speaking on just the offense in general.
So Bill asked, would you call a quarterback sneak knowing what happened to Patrick Mahomes in his situation?
Well, and yeah, like I said, that was situational. What was before that? I feel like that's situational, though. I definitely feel like that was situational. We were talking about Nagy, right? We were talking about Nagy, and he needs to go. I think my opinion on Matt Nagy is this, right? Matt Nagy was a guy that was like he had an offense before. He kind of indoctored Mahomes into the offense with that last game in Denver a couple years ago when Alex got ready for the playoff game. So I feel like Nagy is very indoctrinated in the Andy Reid offense. He knows exactly what he wants. I feel like Andy's staple is always throwing the ball, like you said, Clinton. So I feel like that is a mix of him and Matt Nagy working together in cahoots. They just don't. That's just not their MO. And they're like I said, he's a player's coach. He's going to do what his player wants. I feel like we know that a lot of those runs that we seen last year where we were feeding Pacheco, that was strictly the enemy. A running back's coach, just saying what he wanted to do and really going ahead and putting that initiative, putting his stamp on the offense when we thought that he may have been the guy causing some dysfunction there. I feel like we went away from that, but they found it again in that second half. I feel like it's something that they're going to have to go to because they had a lot of success there. Pacheco, like you said, played out of his mind. You can see it. He's fresh legs. He's ready to go. He's on fire. He's ready to go. He's getting after it. But I feel like that's a mix of Matt Nagy, Mahomes, and Reed, just not wanting to stick with that run.
To the second half, Patrick Mahomes was the leading rusher for the Chiefs again after he was already the leading rusher last week.
And we can't have a Buffalo situation to win the Super Bowl, fellas. I'm telling you that now. You're gonna have to use your running back. You're gonna have to run the ball. Ask Buffalo last year. It got so bad in Buffalo. They knew that Josh Allen was the only running back on the team. Like, oh my God. Like you can't win games like that. So you're gonna have to run the ball. You're gonna have to establish it, whether it be a little bit or a lot. Put it on the ground just a little bit. Other than that, I feel like they did pretty good. As far as the offenses and play calling, I feel like our playmakers have to step up more, man, for sure.
Dale is laughing for the video audience because for this conversation I've titled it "Feed the Cheeks," and I was spamming that towards the end of the game because what is with this team having tremendous run players and just deciding, nah, we're good. Besides just Andy Reid, and it's Matt Nagy's turn to be Andy Reid's shoulder buddy. So it was a question of, is it Eric Bieniemy's reason why they ran so much, or what? The plays I saw, a lot of plays, the players were covered, and then some other plays they were wide open. So it was kind of a hit or miss call. I don't think it was as apparent as week one. Hey, look at all these wide receivers; they're wide open. Oh, they didn't catch it. We saw a lot of, not a lot, but we saw some drops, and Travis Kelce making his return had some catches and that touchdown catch. But I won't show the comment, but Ray Stufflebean is not very happy with Travis Kelce, and I assume that's because he didn't get very much production, and also his penalty towards the end of the game that ultimately didn't result in anything. So that's Travis Kelce. He's that fiery. He's just that type of guy. And for some reason, he has lots of history with Jacksonville. Like, if you go back, a lot of his flags are randomly against the Jaguars.
Where he threw the flag back at the ref. He threw the towel at the ref against Jacksonville here in Kansas City.
And Cisco being a target, a headhunter type of player, and a lot of hits after the play. So maybe Maybe he was playing enforcer. We saw angry Travis Kelce in training camp. We saw him fighting the defensive players. Maybe this is
really carrying over.
This is him.
Yeah, and I say I'll live with that with Travis. He's such a great player that when we get those type of things, I'll live with it with Travis. But for sure, I feel like this is just me just putting it on the pod right here. I feel like Travis is a step slow. He's a step slower than he was. Yeah, he's a step slower than he's been, and I feel like the injury is not going to make him any faster. He's going to have to recover. So I don't know what we're going to do, but Travis is not getting any healthier. He's not getting any younger, and I don't know if he's going to get any faster. So we're going to have to find some different ways to get Travis.
That might be the case, but
I'm just saying we're going to have to find different ways to get him open because Travis is usually never that covered. He was covered up today, and you can tell he's hampered by a knee injury. And when you run into guys like a healthy Derwin James, that knee injury, that's gonna rear its head. We can't with them 50-50 balls in there to Travis is okay, but you're one tip away from a pick six, Mahomes.
But now they get a week to go back to the lab and figure out, okay, Travis, run this route 10 times in a row. Where do you actually end up at the end of this route? Okay, I throw it here instead of here. I feel like that ain't a type of adjustment. Travis knows how to get open in zone coverage. So I don't care if he's got to walk 3 yards or 20 yards down the field, somewhere in the middle. He'll find his way open, and if Mahomes has enough time, and barring any more offensive line penalties, he'll find him and he'll come down with it in a few weeks from now. He's getting his rust off. He was 2 days away from playing a football game, then gets injured, and then had a long break to sit down, and then went into the hot Florida heat where it was 120 on the field. So today was not the day to exert yourself and try the utmost and give it your 100% and have no more to give. Travis had the chance to kick back, run a couple plays, step out, watch his team play. Yeah, I didn't see like a tremendous drop when it wasn't him on the field. It just kind of depended on the play call that was drawn up, because some plays, like I said, had receivers wide open and they came down with it, and other plays there was not a soul to throw to. A lot of those like wide receiver screen passes that worked early, we just stopped seeing those again. Tony had his biggest production that way, and then just never really wanted to focus on him again. So I'm not sure what our offense likes to do. They really like to kind of fumble around and try out different things. Even if one thing is clearly working, they don't just ultimately commit to it and run it till it doesn't work. But, we've come to learn that, and we just have to think that in crunch time at the very end of the game, Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes will make the right decisions on what plays to be running based on what they've been experiencing the entire games. They're both professionals.
I think they're gonna try to they want one of these wide receivers to break out and be that guy that Mahomes can actually, utilize and gain that trust with. I said earlier, and I was talking to Lonnie, I said Sky Moore might have reached, might moved up on those rankings now. And I think it's time for us. I understand that we wanted 7 wide receivers out there, but it's time to hey, we need to find our 3 guys or our 4, because Justin Watson is going to be an option that it looks like he want to stay connected with as well too. And then of course we're going to have Travis Kelce and Noah Gray as a tight end. So I think we're going to need KT to get more of those reps. Sky Moore, he's going to be someone who can probably fill that Juju role that we're looking at. He had a back shoulder touchdown, and then he had that big play at the end of the game. Of course, it put us in the red zone. And then Travis Kelce, and I know y'all just talked about him because I didn't get to say too much about him, but this is someone, to me, he's never been fast anyway. He always kind of played like a slow motion game. He just understands it. With him having that experience as being the quarterback, that's how he's able to pick apart those holes. And his movements is somewhat swift, and I don't know how he's able to break those tackles, but he never moved in a fast motion to a point where it's like, oh, he just took off. He just gets open, make plays, get yards after the catch, and then we move forward. So, I mean, I saw a little bit of that today. That's why I don't think he has lost that step that we think he has lost. But at the same time, you can see that he did have a knee injury and he's going to have to get back into it. So.
Yeah, and that's the only thing I'm saying. And that's why I said I love how Clint put it. I don't want to judge it too early. It is hot. He is in Jacksonville. It's a lot of different factors going in there for Trav. But I'm just saying, as a 25-year-old, I just know you're not getting any younger. You're only getting older. Trav is up there in age. This is like his first injury, or second injury. Well, not second. I did a second injury to a knee. I'm not sure if it's the same one. Since his rookie year. So this is a little different. He doesn't battle from a lot of injuries. He doesn't have to come back from a lot of injuries. And like I said, you're not getting faster. If you go out there and you're injured and you're 50% and you get hit and you get slammed, like you get hit by those 5 DBs and go up in the air, the knee is not feeling better after a week after, y'all. So I'm saying you're not getting any quicker a week after. You just got beat up. So I just said we're gonna have to figure out different ways to get him open, because he might not be that same person that we're used to him being before. Just like because I bring up that Chargers game, he runs an underneath route against Derwin James and it's pulling away from the safety. Just like, I don't know if it's like kind of like a pig play, but he gets a step on him, and that's Travis Kelce touchdown game. We won. So it's like I don't think we're in for that type of year. He's going to be different. It's going to be close body catches, and you're going to have to get it in certain situations. Like you said, Mahomes running around, kind of him peeling off, kind of finding those voids in his home, that type of stuff. But other than that, I feel like the key for other teams is going to be manning up, beating him up like you did last year, really just roughing him up, because he's already hampered. So if he can, I would say different if he just showed a little bit more today, a little bit more like grab, twitchiness, or just kind of get and go. But you can kind of tell he's still hurt. He's not all the way there, and he's kind of focusing on other stuff. He's dropped a lot of passes that he usually catches. So it's just like I don't know where this goes for the Chiefs, but hopefully it gets better.
Yeah. For sure. To kind of piggyback one of your points earlier, I think for me, based on what I've seen with the 7 wide receiver conversation, personally, I would love to just see 2 tight ends or 2 running backs pretty much almost consistently, because I think it's essentially the best matchup the Chiefs have, because they have 2 really good running or pass catching running backs to utilize. And they have, in terms right now, 2 good tight ends who can get open in space or make a good block based on whatever the call of the play is. So I think based what you guys mentioned about wanting to see Travis Kelce step up, I think we'll see a lot of Noah Gray stepping up, just because it's kind of, prototyping, like, hey, okay, if Travis Kelce is like the standard, then Noah Gray is, NFL caliber tight end. So what gets NFL caliber tight end open? And of course that'll work for Travis Kelce easily. And then if he gets up to form even more, then we'll see him get that breakout speed or that extra gear that he tends to get in clutch situations.
Absolutely.
My last kind of notes about the pass catchers for this game. So Mahomes went 29 for 41 for 300 yards, 305, 2 touchdowns, and that 1 throwaway interception that really wasn't needed. And the touchdowns came within 9 yards of the end zone. So a lot of dinking and dunking, and couldn't quite find the long ball down the field. We saw Rashee Rice make that big play. So, maybe we're going to start to see some more of him if the Chiefs decide they want some more bigger body possession type receivers based on their matchups versus a speedy Kadarius Toney type. And personally, I don't know about y'all, but I don't know if I'm, 100% or 90% there of being done on Marquez. And not just because you made the mistake, but because you also essentially disappeared from the game as well. Like, you can't be a $10 million player on the Chiefs and not have your name appear in the stat book.
You can definitely see he's one of those guys who gets going at the end of the season and make those plays that we need in those crunch moments, like in playoffs games, because we saw what he did last year in the Bengals game. But making 10 million a year and really asking you to be the second option on his offense. We need you to do a lot more than that. I need you on average at least to be a 6 reception guy who's having 60+ yards as our second receiver, and that's what I want. And honestly, with you being the deep threat that we like downfield, that's what we expect out of you as well too. So I can see him potentially being someone that we kind of fade away from in the offseason, depending on cap space if we needed to let him go and drop him. And because right now, just seeing the young guys and seeing the ones that's showing up, that's what we wanted to see from Scott. So okay, you probably got that right there. Okay, let's see what's Honey do for the rest of the season. Okay, he's really our number one option. All right, now Rashid, he has these games to where he has 5-6 catches a game, probably 70 yards with a touchdown. That's a plus as well too. Okay, you're in some deep water. So I wouldn't be surprised.
I think at this point, I want to see like Justin Watson play more in the Marquez role, because if that's a guy that's not going to get open that much because he has to literally beat his matchups most of the time and can reliably come down with the catch and pick up a first down, out of those two options, I like Watson. And then that frees up a guy like Rashee Rice or a Justin Ross to be that opposite of Sky Moore, to get a better matchup, to see if he can get open versus him just getting the one-on-one versus a NFL corner.
And on both of his deep throws, who did he throw it to?
Justin Watson.
And my thing is with Marquez is that the Chiefs bring you in and only run 2 routes, a deep over and a deep 9. Like, you gotta run more. Your route treat needs to be way more expensive. And I put a lot on Andy Reid. He doesn't put him in the same positions that he puts Rashid, Sky, and Richie, all of those guys. So I don't know what the agreement is there, or how they're utilizing him in the offense, but I just know he does not get that same attention or get put in those same positions. So he's not a guy that's like, oh, we're trying to get him involved by getting yak. He's more just like, okay, you just get open on this deep post, or we just need you to run this 9, just run past everybody. We're just gonna throw it up. So I feel like a lot of it is his utilization, but and I feel like a lot of it too today was just the offensive line could not get out of their own way. When you don't have the time to throw a deep ball, you're not going to throw one in Andy Reid's offense. If you're 2nd and 20, we're not throwing a deep out, or we're not doing any of that. So I just feel like a lot of that today was just that offense in general just not being able to get out of their own way. So without them being able to get out of their own way, I feel like he just was not prepared to take the shot. He wasn't taking it. Certain people just weren't able to play the type of game that they wanted to play. So I feel like it all starts with the offensive line. If we can correct those problems there, get some things blocked up, Andy sees that Mahomes can have some time, then we start dialing up the shots, and then we start dialing up the trick plays and no ghost motions. And that's where you can kind of see us really getting our bag. I feel like he hasn't had that time. So we're trying to keep it plain in Manila. And which is why I think another reason we haven't really seen a lot of MVS, because we're not gonna. He doesn't have the time to get it off at all. Any of those routes, the MVS's runs, because he doesn't run anything other than the deep over or post. The shortest route we seen him run today was the one at the sticks, and he went backwards. So it was like you don't really see him run a lot of those routes anyway. So we'll see.
Y'all never be Tyreek Hill.
Never. And that's another thing. Yeah, stop doing that. I don't know if they telling people to watch Tyreek film. Tyreek was the only wide receiver on this team that could ever run backwards to gain yards.
Yep.
Nobody is, and I can say this. Kadarius is probably close. It's almost close just because of the way he breaks tackles. But nobody can run backwards to run past anyone except for Tyreek Hill. He's the only person I've seen that can run backwards just to run around your defense. You don't do that. Nobody does that in gain yards. DeMarcus Robinson tried that, and you're giving us nightmares. MVS, like, stop it. Like,
11 is cursed.
I swear, like you have to, and that's another reason I think too that we're kind of just that like, oh my God, it's so much DeMarcus Robinson there. You make the plays when we need you, but as far as like the route running, the routes you're running, the way where you use it, and then the stuff you did today, it's like, hey man, we got rid of D-Rob. We didn't need to go.
No, we really got rid of him and replaced him with D-Rob. This is
Like,
exactly what it was. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've been joking around for too much here. Let's kind of go around the table here. Lonnie, you kick us off. What are your final thoughts for this game and going into next Sunday afternoon against the Bears?
Yeah, I think it's obvious the offense didn't do enough, so the offense needs to show up more. We have to score points. We're going to at least need 30 points to beat the Bears, and I'm saying it now. The offensive line has to look better. You need to correct the penalties. If you don't correct it, we're going to lose at home and get embarrassed again. And the defense continue to do what they do. Let's try and get a turnover. These guys, this looks like a top 10 defense. Can you be a top 10 defense? What separates those great defenses from the good defenses is getting turnovers and scoring. Can you make that turnover differential and the score differential different when you step on the field? So I feel like that's the two biggest takeaways for me is let's see if this offense get it back together for the next game, and let's see if this defense can make themselves top 10 by getting some turnovers.
All right. Dale?
Yep, my final thoughts is at the end of the day, even though it was a sluggish game for our offense, happy to start off finally get our first double of the season. I think going forward offensively, we're just going to have to really get it going a lot quicker and then just be more efficient as well too. Let's not go out there and just shoot ourselves in the foot. Let's make sure that that the offensive line that they're ready to go, that we can limit those penalties because there was a lot of opportunities we had out there and we left it out there as well too, and pushed us back out of like even field goal contention as well. So we could have definitely had more points. And defensively, just make sure that we just keep on stepping on their necks. The return of Chris Jones was definitely needed, and I'm happy that he was able to come back. I like what we're seeing on the edge for him, going back and forth, being interchangeable from both the defensive tackle area and also defensive end. I like what our young guys are doing as well too. George K seems like he's starting to really show up as well. And then as a whole for the secondary and the linebackers, just keep on doing your job. Keep on putting your offense position because eventually this Kansas City offense will get going.
All right, and then my final thoughts for the game were, thank goodness we have Chris Jones back, not because he was needed, but because his presence was definitely felt, and it made a defense that looked last Thursday like they could be really good turn into what could be, by the end of this, a top 10 defense in the league if all the players do their part in their position group. So I'm very thrilled with the way the defense balled out, and specifically the defensive line getting Big Mac sacks all for the Chiefs Kingdom. Travis, you could definitely see the rust on him and all, but I think another week feeling it and having a full week of practice into a normal game week, we'll see a little more out of him and see if he comes back to near Super Bowl form like he was last year, and we'll see how the other wide receivers on the team step up. They did decent, but you could tell there was something off, and we'll see how much of that next week is because of the offensive line changes that will send Daily Dale into a rant mode. So I won't go there anymore. Thank you all for tuning in to the Red Kingdom Media Live post-game show presented by Red Kingdom Media. I want to say thank you all for joining. Make sure to follow and subscribe wherever you like to listen to your Nerdy Chiefs news, and like, comment, and share it so all your friends and family can experience the nerdiness with you. Guys, with that being said, it was a great Sunday. It was a roller coaster ride of a game because it wasn't how we expected, but we got the result that we wanted. That's right, we got that W, Jameis Winston style. Eat it up. So I know the Chiefs are going to come ready next week, and I'm going to be there in person, ready to watch, and we will be there with you after that game next week with this week 3 edition of the post-game show. Thank you all for joining. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And as always, go Chiefs!
Thanks for checking out this update straight from the heart of Chiefs Kingdom. We appreciate your passion, so please leave a like and follow us wherever you tune in from. See you next tailgate, your trusted source for all things Chiefs. Red Kingdom Media.